Hey there, Jen Johnson here. Listen, what if I told you that the success that you're seeking, that next level, that next edge you want to create in your business has everything to do with your fitness plan? That's right, with how you're moving your body on a daily basis, how you're getting up in the morning and showing up for yourself, for your mind and body before actually stepping to the keyboard, stepping onto the phone and getting onto social media. Today, I have a very special guest. I'm actually going to start doing interviews on my YouTube channel, interviewing high performers, people who are succeeding in their business, not because they have these long to-do lists and these crazy strategies, but because there's other things that they're doing to show up and up-level their life that is bleeding into the success that they're having in their business. So today I want to share with you a dear friend of mine, Jessica Perez Beebe. She's actually a pro competitor, a bodybuilder, a mom, a successful business owner, and I really want you to listen to what she has to say when it comes to creating new habits and the benefits of actually taking control of what you're doing with your body on a daily basis and how that actually will create the success you're looking for inside your business. So let's dive into this interview, but before we do so, be sure to subscribe to this channel because each and every single week we are talking about how to clarify your message, how to clarify your offers, and get your message out into the world so you're landing those dream clients that you know that you can serve and impact. So subscribe and let's dive in. Okay, I am so pumped right now because we're talking to Jessica Perez Beebe, and she's the very first interview I've ever done on my YouTube channel. So I'm so excited to have you here today because I'm really looking to give, the audience here, and I know even your audience that you can share this with, just some perspective on different angles of success and what it looks like to really pull from other areas that are like the 6 degrees of separation to really create your success. And one thing about Jessica is that she is a performance coach for high achievers. She's a bodybuilding mom extraordinaire. She's a fitness competitor. Like her body is insane. Like she's just got it so lit. And I'm so excited to see all you're doing in the competition world. But welcome. I'm so excited that you're here.
Oh, Jen, well, first of all, I'm so honored to be the first interview on your YouTube channel. It's so special. Thank you so much. And I'm excited just to be here with you and share whatever we can that can support, the listeners and the viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would love for you to just tell a little bit about like your heart and your mission and what you do for high performers, and also like what your definition of like why high performance is just so imperative to success.
Oh, that's good. I'm going to start with like what my heart is like, or like where my heart is. What's my bigger vision? Like what's the mission that God has placed on my heart? And really it's about being able to positively influence, impact, and inspire people, women and men, who actually come from the environments and similar environment and background that I came from, in terms of what is possible when you prioritize, for example, fitness in your life, community, mentors, because I came from, an environment that was not super positive, a broken family, violent neighborhoods, a single teenage mom, and, the struggles that you can imagine that, all of that brings. And when I think about like, who can I make the biggest difference for? It really is the youth, right? The teens, the young adults who are at that crossroads. And, the reason I'm sharing this, it doesn't sound like high performance, but I'll connect it, is because everything that I'm really doing is leading up to the bigger vision, the bigger 10x purpose that I have, which is a foundation that will bring fitness and high performance habits and structure and community and mentorship to those types of communities, because I know that that's one of the things that will make a life-changing difference for people. And so I've been really focused on my leadership, my own performance in my life, working with other driven people who are driven like me. But how do we become not just achievers out there, trying to check things off, but how do we become like, how do we level up our performance so that we're focused, our energy is focused, we're not burning out, we're not leaking energy, and we are driven by a vision. So we're not just out there bouncing around, right? And so everything that I really feel like I'm doing in my business and with my clients, honestly, is to make me a stronger leader, so that I can make that bigger difference, like a global difference, right? Because going back and being able to help these kids and young adults who are where I was, and we can talk about that if you want to, but that's going to require me to be able to lead by example and build this in my own life. So kind of a long answer.
Absolutely. No. And to give some context, Jessica and I, she actually, her and I both went through the same leadership work, the most intense work of your life that you could ever do. When I went through the leadership work, Jessica was actually one of the coaches that I got to work with. And then through going through that program, I got to pay that forward and coach other people going through that program. And so we know that everything rises and falls on your leadership level. Both you and I, we support and serve high achievers and high performers. And so when it comes to, really focusing, I think it's easy for people to want to copy, compare. And when they're not clear on what they're doing, or they're not clear on, they may be clear on their mission, but what's the mission for the mission, right?
Right.
Like usually we have a mission for our life, for our goals, for what we want to achieve physically, financially, but what's the bigger picture that it's tied to? And it sounds like that's what you have in place.
Yeah. And I haven't always had that. So I think it's also okay to first of all, if you're somebody who just knows that you're meant to make an impact in the world, you just have it inside you, that you want to use your pain for a purpose, or your past for a purpose, or you just know that you've gone through transformations and that it's possible for other people, and it's just on your heart to want to do that. I think that is the main thing that you need, that spark, that fire, that drive, and you don't have to know how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's important to know. You don't have to know, all the specifics, and along the way, things might change. It's happened in my life where the way that I am inspiring and coaching and delivering and supporting in transformation kind of looks different, at different times in my life.
Absolutely.
Right? I've been an entrepreneur for 16 years in the coaching industry, in 3 different industries, right? I've coached in fitness, I've coached in entrepreneurship, in personal development and life coaching, trained under Tony Robbins. So when you know what you're driven for, like you're saying, I actually want to make a difference for those people who, without that person or that program or that discipline of fitness or a sport or whatever, they actually would be going, down a really dark road, because I grew up in that. And the majority of people did go down that dark road. Right. And so I just feel so blessed. And it's okay, this is for a reason, right? I'm on this side of it, God, for a purpose that you have for me. So I think it's okay to not have it figured out how you're going to deliver it or how it's going to be all the time, but just being driven by the vision, right?
I love that you say that. I was actually in my Bible study yesterday, and something that came up for me was that, so often we want to have that grand vision, that big thing, and we feel like we can't start until we know what that is.
Yes.
And a lot of times it's not until you start and stumble along the way and stumble from sometimes the stumble leads you, I think of a movie where someone stumbles in the wrong direction and all of a sudden they look up and they're like, oh, I'm there, I found it.
Yeah. Right.
So sometimes it's just the stumbling along the way and allowing yourself to try things and allowing, it sounds like you've gone through a lot. How can you use that for good? We're all called to serve others. We're not here as humans for ourselves. We have a contribution to make. And a lot of times those hurts and those struggles we go through are what mold us to be able to help others who are going through that same thing. And I love that you're just so aligned with what you're doing.
And is being curious about it, right? Like, and this goes to the leadership work too. It's like not being a victim to it, but saying like, what is the gift here? How am I supposed to be using this? And you're right, like our purpose here is to be in contribution. And I don't feel like I always knew that. I always had this pull to help people but like so you're doing Bible study, and I'm in a small group, and right now we're studying a purpose-driven life. And so, the whole thing of contribution and being of service is like just flashing like even stronger and stronger every year, the past is, several years of my life. And it's like connecting the dots of the work that I'm doing, right? Because sometimes as an entrepreneur, you can start to, even if you started out with this passion and this mission and this ambition to help other people, once you get into the day-to-day of business, you can start to forget that. And you get caught in the numbers, and you get caught in the benchmarks, the like all the business stuff. And we've got to take that time to step back and remember why we're in this, right? And that there's different markers of success. It's not always in your revenue and the number of, clients or customers. Those are some markers they're markers of business goals.
Yeah.
Really. But,
and, yeah, it's funny. I did a post yesterday about that where, people often follow people who are successful, but it's not just about, first of all, defining your own success. Like, what does success mean to you? But then not just where they are, but how did they get there? Because if they got there and they've sacrificed family, they've sacrificed everything that really matters, they're not in business, they're in prison. Yes. And it's like, how do you, so like for you have this big belief, and I always talk about the big belief, like what's your big belief that you really serve people with? And your big belief is, it sounds like, really the endurance and like the physical aspect that you tie into that of like peak performance.
Yes, I do. So my big belief in general in life and what I truly stand for is personal responsibility.
Yes.
So that's like just kind of the flag that I plant in the ground. It always comes down to that. Mm-hmm. And in terms of, so like everything, comes down to personal responsibility. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like, as an entrepreneur, as a high performer, like what is something that most of the top high performers that you see out there, and we can name, go down the list. Yeah, what's one of the things that they have in common? And it's absolutely prioritizing their fitness. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think it's so key as an entrepreneur, especially, right? So like, how do we stay on our edge? How do we maintain the mental endurance, stamina, strength, and the physical to actually be in this for the long haul? Right? Like nobody becomes an entrepreneur to just try it out for a year or two. Like it's a lifelong. And so you've got to have the endurance mentally and physically. You've got to have, you've got to start creating the evidence in your life that with the daily commitments, right? The small things that you do consistently every day, you actually create a huge transformation. You get the results that you want. And I don't know any better comparison or analogy than fitness, right? Like I'm now a professional bodybuilder. I turned pro at age 43 last year after taking off for 3.5 years, which is incredible. All the glory to God, because it, the reason that I decided to get back in was I remembered how that really kept me up on my performance in all areas of life. And it was like a leadership decision for me. Like if I get back into this sport and pursue turning pro, like there's so much that I'm going to learn in terms of like, there's so many habits that I'm going to have to instill in my life and in my day to get there, that there's no way that's not going to carry over into my business, into my leadership, into my parenting, into being a wife. And that's really what it's all about. And I think as entrepreneurs, we have to have something that really grounds us gets us back into our body and out of our head.
Yeah.
You know, and like just the discipline of it alone is, you know, life changing in your business. And also you need to have something besides work.
Yeah,
Right?
and that brings up a good point I was telling you about is like, I know when I started my business and when a lot of people start their business, they think something's got to give. They think I got to put my health and my fitness on the back burner. Guilty, done it. And it's like, what, you know, I know habits are something. I saw you did a post about like, you know, it's not about changing you, it's about changing your habits.
Yes.
And so it's like, some people would think, well, that's kind of the same thing because I am my habits, right?
Not our habits.
Yeah. And so can you touch on that a little bit? Because I know some people have that thought process.
Right. And that's, I'm so glad you said it like that, because we are not our habits. Habits are learned.
Yeah.
We're not our mindset even,
Right.
because we adopt mindsets from, you know, our family and our, you know, upbringing, our experience. The beautiful thing about not trying to change yourself, right? Because that inherently means we're flawed, and we're all children of God, so we are not flawed, right? And that takes a long time for a lot of us to get that. But it's not about changing who you are at the core. It's just changing perhaps the way you think about things or the way that you see things. And it's changing the habits that you have. Like, habits can be, I have a habit of thinking this way, right? Or I have a habit of sleeping in, right? Like, you don't have to identify with being someone who sleeps in. You can actually create a new habit that you learn and you apply and implement, and then you become a person who wakes up early, right? So it's beautiful because you can change habits and patterns. And actually, there's a book that I just started reading on audio, and I've got to jump back into it. It's called, oh gosh, The Talent Code. Have you heard of this book?
The what?
The Talent Code.
No.
Oh my gosh, it's so brilliant. I like to read anything that has to do with the mind.
Yes.
And it's just fascinating, and it's very scientific, and it's very, not in terms of scientific language. There's some of that, but I mean, it's researched, right? So like, they're researching it with real people. The people who are at the top of their game in everything, like the top musicians, violinists, the top, you know, in their specific sport, the top of anything. And what's so interesting is it's debunking the myth of you're just born with that talent.
Yeah.
It's not.
Oh, I love that.
It's not that. It's exactly, he calls it the art of deep practice. So it's the art of deep practice. And one of the things, I hope I don't butcher the way he teaches it, but it's such a fascinating book. It's like, when, for instance, the penis is, you know, learning something, and she hits on a note that she messes up, right? Like, she doesn't get it. If she were to just come back to it later, jump over it and keep going, she misses the opportunity of the art of deep practice, where so those who are at the top, they stop and they stay in the error. Like, the errors are there.
Oh, I love that.
Right?
I love that.
She does not move on until she's gotten that.
Got it.
And then that's been obliterated, you know, like,
Yeah.
and so, like, so often we just think, oh, I'm not naturally good at this. And so you just stop. Or you know, you assume that you have to be natural at it. And this book really debunks that. And that's why I say you don't have to change you. It's just your habits. Maybe you're not practicing enough, or maybe you're not, you know, there's just, where is that thing that you keep bumping up against? And I know for me, you know, in terms of personal development, it was always so easy for me to run away from those things that
hard
were
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal
Lean
with
in.
that.
You got to learn to lean into the hard stuff.
Yes, exactly. And that's all where it is. And even, you know, the habits, right? Like, it's typically, you just want to say, oh, that's just how I am, because it looks like it's going to be difficult.
Or it's a justification. I did it. I always said I'm not a morning person. How many people say I'm not a morning person? It's just not who I am. But you're actually inflicting that identity on yourself. And it doesn't have anything to do with about you. It's just the habit you're choosing.
Exactly.
Love
And
that.
when you think about fitness and bodybuilding, why I think such a great parallel is like nobody is just born with like a fit, sculpted body or
Yeah.
whatever, and they've even gone in and proven that yeah, for some body types it might be a little harder. It might take a little longer to, for instance, produce a certain amount of muscle,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, some people are just genetically going to be able to build quicker, typically those of us who do really well in bodybuilding. However, what they've proven is that every single body type, no matter what, no matter their experience or past experience with fitness or not, every single person can accomplish it, right? It just might take
Yeah.
longer, and it might just be more difficult for some, but there is no that person's just born like that, or that, like
Or
literally.
some people love working out and other people don't.
Exactly,
Mhm.
right.
Do
Although,
you love working out? Like, is
I
it
love
something?
working out, yes.
Okay. So to all the people who don't, like
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
uh, willpower does not work.
yeah.
So what is your tips or your advice to people who have that, like, I don't have the time because I'm, building my business, or
Well,
I'm, I just don't have the desire, or I don't have the energy, or whatever it is.
first of all, you've got to have like, you have to have a really strong vision for what you want.
Yeah.
I say this, I taught this a lot over the past few years in one of my mindset courses. And it's like, you can't just say, I'm going to change something or do something because it seems like the right thing to do, right? Like it just won't stick. It's like somebody who really enjoys smoking cigarettes, yet they quit because the doctor said so, the family said so, they know it's bad for their health. They're going to be sneaking cigarettes in the back of the room. Like your son running in the background. He's so cute.
All in the background.
Hey, we work from home. What can we do?
I'm like having to turn on mute, not mute. I'm like, go away.
Right? Like, but yeah, it's like photo bomb, video bomb.
Yeah.
So it's like you've got to have a strong vision for yourself. You've got to want it for yourself. And I tell people, like, in fitness, it doesn't have to be bodybuilding. It doesn't have to be lifting weights. It doesn't have to be yoga. It gets to be something that, first of all, you're going to want to do. Like,
Yeah,
it
like
could
what
just
does
be
optimal health look like to you,
yeah, right. You got to first define your vision of what that is for you.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, they could just choose to walk every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be how they stay on their edge, right? They get up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and they make it a non-negotiable that they're out walking. Like for you, for instance, you could get out and walk before the family wakes up. You could put on, Bible verses in your headphones and just power it out for, 30 minutes to an hour.
I like to dance, so I find
And
yeah,
dance.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's my
So
thing.
yep, it's got to be something that you like, because think about it. You're in business, I'm in business. It's difficult, right? You would not have the stamina or the endurance or the motivation to stick with it if you weren't doing something that you love.
Right. And
If you
on
picked
the
a
other
business,
side of that, it's almost like trying to get a kid to eat their peas. Like, no, I know you don't want it, but it's good for you. Like, I know I don't want to work out, but like, are you going to be childlike minded about it and say, no, I'm not going to do it? Or are you going to do it anyways because it's
or,
a good thing to
or
do?
if your kid, if they don't like peas, let's find out what vegetable you do like.
Yeah. It's got to be a green. Let's go with greens. Kids are usually like, I don't like broccoli. I don't like, their greens. But it's like, okay, great. So we could find an alternative. But I think too, at the core, and you can agree or not, but there's certain things even in our business, like there's certain aspects we're not always going to love, like certain things.
Absolutely. Well, here's what I mean by that. I love bodybuilding. I love lifting. Do I feel like going some days? Heck no.
Yeah.
I don't feel like doing it some days. I train hard, in off season, we're in a building season. I'm like 2.5 hours in the gym a day. Sometimes split up, sometimes all at the same time. And I'm running my business, and I'm married and a mom and all of that. So a lot of the time I don't feel like doing it. A lot of the time I don't feel like sticking to my diet, right? But because my vision of what I want for myself physically and for, you know, being on stage and being a competitor and being at the top of my sport, like those become things I do anyway, even when I don't want it. Now, if it was like something else physically, like I've got to get on my bike every day, like I don't have a vision tied to being a better cyclist.
Right.
So I would blow it off.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean by you've got to still get, it's like just starting any business.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the same kind of passion if like you're running a McDonald's. I don't know.
And just like, but just like starting, how we were talking about, we got to start and try. You may not know what you like in the fitness world, but you're giving yourself a chance to start anything. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So playing around with that. Awesome.
For sure. I agree 100% there. It's like getting out there, trial and error. Yeah.
Awesome. So what have been the positive effects of you tying like your fitness journey? Like what have you seen flourish from that in other areas of like your family life, your business? Like what has been the positive aspects of that?
For one, for me, it's a stress reliever, right? Mm-hmm. So it gets me out of my business. It gets me into my body. So that's, you know, definitely one thing. It really increases your confidence, right? When you feel strong, when you feel fit, when you look fit, it increases your confidence. Like when you're on stage, when you're in meetings, I noticed that it attracts a certain type of person to me or people. I think in some ways it, you know, your credibility seems to like, you know, go up. And you know, honestly, it's one of those things where I get to look back and go, wow, look at what I have done over the last, you know, 10 years, 15 years. Like I was at least 20 to 25 pounds overweight in my 20s smoking cigarettes, you know? That's a huge transition and like just poor lifestyle in general. To then in my 30s becoming like a renowned fitness trainer and fitness competitor and then, you know, to professional athlete. I mean, guess what that took? The daily habits that I changed a little bit at a time because I had this guess what my vision was? My vision was never to be a bodybuilder. I didn't even think about bodybuilding at that time. I didn't think about being a pro athlete. I never thought about being in a bikini on stage in front of people. My vision when I started to get into health and fitness was I wanted to be like the older women that I saw who were like healthy and vibrant and looked even younger than I did. And I just thought, gosh, if I can, you know, feel like that in my 50s, 60s, and 70s, you know, like I'll be so ahead of the game because my family had diabetes, my, you know, grandparents, my grandmother died young, all from like lifestyle. And so that's all it was. I didn't know how I was going to get there. And along the way, I did a bunch of different stuff, you know, yoga, lifting weights, CrossFit, all of that kind of stuff. But it just, when you can look back and say, oh, that's all it takes is just, you don't have to be perfect every day. You don't have to be 100% every day. But because I'm doing the one or two little habits every day, whether it started with drinking more water or just walking, right? And then, you know, maybe I did that for a year and then you built upon it. Like now I get to sit back and I'm like, holy crap, I'm like in the best shape of my life. And, you know, here I am at 44. That doesn't happen overnight. And the way that I feel like that helps me in business is it's a reminder that it's just those small, consistent things that you do every day. This is why I'm big on performance. That are going to get you the exponential result. It's not overnight.
And I love that you said that because it makes me think of leadership where how you show up in one area of your life. Like if you take a look at your physical, like let's have everybody take a look at your physical regimen like right now. How is that a mirror for other areas of your life right now and your business? Like it's all usually like on that same playing field.
So true. Because you don't think that if you're, you know, you're neglecting yourself physically, like don't kid yourself. You're doing that in your business. You're doing it somewhere in your family. Like, and and that's not judgment. We all have room to
totally. Yeah. We totally do.
Yes.
It's just not recognizing your habits though in your fitness area, and where is the consistency with those habits showing up? Because like you said, it's just about the habits. So it's
It
just
really is.
changing. If you change your habits in fitness, those will bleed into those other areas. I love that you have that as a
Yeah. Yeah, and we see that with our clients. You know, this year we had all of them set a very specific, they had to pick like a race or an event or a challenge or something that they train for. Of course, we've had the whole COVID kind of, you know,
yeah,
mess some things up, but we're still on it.
yeah,
And, you know, that's the consistent, and we have them doing something in the morning. Like entrepreneurs move their body before they move their business. Like we
right.
start with, and like for me, it doesn't mean I'm hitting the gym at 6 a.m., but I'm getting up, I'm getting outside, and I'm walking for 30 minutes. And, you know, I'll go to the gym later, but we move first. Like there's no just rolling out of bed right into work. You know, it's you roll out of bed and you hit your yoga mat, or, you know, you go for a walk. You know, there's something physical that's got to happen. And along with, you know, you've probably read Miracle Morning or Miracle Morning for Entrepreneurs, you know, along with whether you're reading scripture or you're meditating or you're praying or whatever, you've got to have that physical piece. People need to remember that we are, you know, we're animals. Our bodies are, you know, like we're designed to move.
Yeah.
You know, we're not designed to be just planted on a chair all day. And so because of that, you're going to feel younger, you're going to have better health, you're going to have more energy, more clarity for your business. I can't tell you how much clarity I get when I'm working out in the gym.
Or like a good idea, or
yes.
it's gym or shower, people. Gym or shower. Two places where you can't write anything down.
Exactly. No, you can in the gym.
In the gym, yes.
In the gym. On my note.
Yeah.
My team is like, oh my gosh, she's in the gym. All of a sudden, there's all this stuff in Slack.
That's awesome. I love that. So, what are some practical things, like, because I know, you know, for myself as an overachiever, like I want to tackle 20 habits that I want to change at one time. So like, what is your recommendation when people are going in to change habits or commit to new habits?
Definitely start with one thing, right? That's one of the biggest problems I see where people really shoot themselves in the foot, right? Is trying to do too much at once. It was the same thing when I was teaching people in fitness. It's, you know, they wanted to, you know, just change everything, food, exercise schedule, and like all at one time. And that's just, I found by doing it the wrong way as an early on coach, that it just doesn't work. It doesn't last. People get overwhelmed. They get burnt out. So it's always just one thing. And it's the same thing in your business or anything that you want to create a new habit in, or a new outcome. Like, ask yourself, first of all, what would make the biggest difference for me right now? Like, what area of my life, if I changed a habit that created a more positive result, like what area of my life would that be? So it could be in your business. It could be in your health. Could be in your personal relationship. But let's stick to the business, for example. If you know that you sleep too late, right? That could be something that you start with, right? Because it's like, where else can I get more time, right? Especially if you're working from home and then your husband's up or your wife is up and your kids are up, right? Like knowing if you can take a step back and say, if I had 1 extra hour in the morning, I could exercise, or if I had 1 extra hour in the morning, I could, you know, write content, right? Something like that. So, and
make room. So sometimes make room for a new habit. Like you got to create a new habit to make room for another new habit.
Exactly. And so get honest about why that new habit of getting up earlier, like what's the difference it would make? Write it down, like get really clear about it. And then what's it going to cost you if you don't do that?
Yes.
Like, get really intimate with that. And then I actually did this challenge in my Facebook group last year, I think, where it was the 1 more hour awake challenge. And And what we had people do was just set their alarm 5 minutes earlier every single day until they were waking up 1 hour earlier.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love that.
And so many people were just like, oh my God. And like, they still are now doing it. They're like, oh my gosh, that made a huge difference.
That's awesome.
I know there's people that are waking up 2 hours earlier now. And then the other thing I want to say is for you busy high achievers, overachievers, I'm recovering right here. Toss your to-do list.
Yeah.
It's going to give people anxiety, but I've been coaching around this.
I love it.
Yes. Trade your to-do list, your long to-do list of all that busy stuff that's giving you a false sense of accomplishment, because trust me, the important things that are going to move the needle big time in your life and business, they're not on the to-do list. Yeah. Right? Like the chapter. Yeah.
It should be called the to avoid list.
Totally. It's not like the chapter in your book that you keep saying you're going to write or that you started, or, like none of that is on the to-do list. It's just a bunch of busy work, urgent stuff that's going to end up getting done anyway, or it's not, and it's not going to matter. So I teach my clients the night before your day, determine the 2 most important things that need to be done tomorrow that you will accomplish. And that's it. Don't write anything else. Be clear about why and what it's going to cost you if you put it off. And do it immediately. As soon as you can, the better. But that's it. Set yourself up to win. All you got to do is accomplish 2 things tomorrow. And once you do, the rest is just extra.
Yes. I'm the same way. I always plan the night before. I don't have a to-do list, just very minimal. Minimalist mentality.
And see, you and I both teach high performance. Isn't it interesting that we both have that practice?
Yeah.
We never talked about that.
No, we didn't. And it's, every night before I go to bed, I just write it. I even just have it in little notes in my phone. Like, what am I committed to creating tomorw? Like, what am I committed to creating tomorrow? What, it's just, and that's the big key too, is the commitment piece. Like, get in. And I think that's so important that you start your day moving, because success is an inside job. And if we're not connected to our body, to our mind, to all of that, and we're just trying to pour from an empty cup,
that's right.
There's not much that comes back from that or comes out of it. So
yeah, you know what too, Jen, you just said something that made me think, like, I think about, like, when you're moving your body, you're taking action. And like, that's what's needed in your company too. So many people get stuck in just sitting behind the computer and trying to think it through.
Force it.
Okay? Force it. And, so it's like a metaphor, like, get moving in your body, get moving in your business. Like, you just have
I love that. That needs to be a t-shirt.
Yeah. I like
or
that.
A coffee mug.
Let me say it again. Write it down.
Get moving in your body, get moving in your business.
Yes, so true, right? Because it would just remind you, like, take action, like, just get out there. I'll tell you what, most of my most important work that I do is never behind my computer.
Oh, I love that.
Never, ever, ever.
And it's connection, it's relationships, it's thinking, when people think, oh, I need to post every single day and I don't know what to post and I need this and I need that. It's like, how many people did you serve? How many conversations did you have? Who did you impact today? Like, so it's, and hence why, like, I'm even doing that work by bringing in more people and creating the connection. And
that's beautiful.
We get to be part of the work, and I love it. So what do you have, like, a resource or like a place people can connect with you, obviously?
You guys can find me on Instagram. Will you put it in the notes?
Yeah.
At Jessica Perez Beebe. Same thing on Facebook. Just type my name in, and that's the best way to find me right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here and being my first interview on this channel.
So cool.
I love you to pieces, and I appreciate you for pouring into the community today.
And just blessings to you on all that you are doing, and just, being a fierce, brave woman out there, pursuing your dreams, helping other people. It takes courage to live this kind of life. And so, kudos to you.
Thank you, Jessica. Well, we'll see you guys later. Isn't she amazing? I want to encourage you to connect with Jessica. Definitely go follow her on Instagram and just get inspired by the tenacity, by what it is she's up to, and her work ethic is just insane. It's going to light you up. And I really hope that you're taking action and thinking of a few habits that you know, one at a time, but what are some of those most important habits? Making that list of like, gosh, what are some habits I really want to change right now in my life? And then pick one from that list that you can run with. Put it in the comments below so we can all share and be accountable and declare it to the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, keep the faith, impact the world. God bless, and I will see you next week.